Hello, everyone. So my name is Elois, and what was your question again?
So, I've forgotten. No, could you tell us about Fairphone?
Yeah. So Fairphone is a company in Netherlands, based in Amsterdam. We are a team of 80 people, and we are working on this kind of device, which are smartphones designed to be open and reopen like 20, 30 times in order to change the models, because it's a modularity smartphone that we can say. You can change your screen, you can change your battery, you can change the camera, and you can change approximately everything in the phone, which helps to reduce the waste, of course. We are based in Amsterdam, only selling those phones in Europe for the moment. We have a team of 20 people in Africa, which is working on the mines, especially in Congo, because in Congo, you know that we have a lot of materials that we need to build those smartphones: cobalt, tantal, lithium, iron, all those kind of materials. And sometimes, like basically a lot of times, those materials are extracted in a really bad way. So we have 20 people who care about that. We are, maybe I can ask a question. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do it. No?
Ask me a question.
No, okay. do you know how many materials do we need to build a smartphone, which is Huawei or Samsung or Oppo?
So any smartphone device, Apple, oof. Are we talking just raw metals that are non-renewable resources so that when we extract them, we never get them back? Or more of the renewable resources that we have more ongoing access to?
Okay, so you're asking question also.
Yeah.
No. The materials like the iron, the cobalt, the tantal,
the copper,
yeah.
the gold.
Or if someone knows, 45, no. 50, no, a bit less. Okay, it's 40. It's 40 materials that we need, and we in Fairphone we are securizing 8 materials, which means that during all the supply chain, which is 530 steps from the ground to the shop, we need to pass through.
Yep.
We are securizing 8 materials, which are tungsten, cobalt, lithium, iron, cuivre. I don't know. Cuivre.
That's fine. Bilingual audience, we're good.
Yeah, bilingual.
There's a lot there. Thank you so much for sharing all that information. So you spoke a lot about this ethical sourcing of materials, which is a huge issue these days. Because a lot of when our disposal processes for our valuable electronics, a lot of these materials go to waste. And when we extract these materials, they often come from regions where the extraction process has ethical complications. The DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, as a significant example, is a region that is often plagued by their wealth. And so a lot of conflict happens, a lot of unethical practices happen. So it's great that you're working hard to secure the supply chain, working with different actors, I'm assuming probably the regional governments, regional companies, local actors, probably NGOs maybe?
NGOs also, a lot in Congo and Ghana. Ghana, we have a huge partnership with an NGO working with extracting some minerals. And also that's something we don't really know, but in Congo, we have some illegal extractions that help the armed group, so in those kind of area of the world, which is really unsustainable, we need to have an action, because we all have a smartphone, I hope a Fairphone,
soon, right?
in our pocket, and those minerals came from there. So
it's a complicated region where companies who operate there and have to extract these materials for our products often don't necessarily have reliable partners, and they can't protect their supply chains. So it's a serious issue, because often people working in the region will put extracted resources from unethical sources together with resources extracted from ethical sources so that they blend together. So it just becomes a very confusing space to operate. So it's great that Fairphone is operating in that space. Shifting the conversation a bit to how I would use the smartphone, right? You spoke about the modularity, right? And I know a lot of, there's a lot of debate right now going on about who has the right to repair my phone, right? Certain companies are saying that only they can repair it because it's protected intellectual property. Other companies are much more open. Fairphone specifically is very open about how you can repair your phone. And if I'm not wrong, there's a website where I can order specific parts if they break.
You can go on fairphone.com and you have all those modules that you can buy, your camera, your screw, your screen, your battery, and you have a tuto, like a bilingual. We have a video tuto that explains you how to change all those modules.
Yeah.
So we could have some brevet. How do you say brevet?
Oh.
Yeah, you know all the words. So we could have some brevet, but we wanted to go, open source, and we have the right to put our hands in our device. And for if I can say one example, my father is not really into digitals and technology, but he has a car which came from his dad, and it's a deux chevaux, a deux chevaux, yes, and so he can build and rebuild and going through ages his car. And I said, Papa, you can have this phone and do the same thing for your like your deux chevaux. You can, but
no, online. That's
it's
great.
French discussion.
Yeah. Bilingual. We're here for everybody. So the online tutorials I think are a great start. I've been a fan of the brand for a while. I know you're based out of Amsterdam, but you, a French person, Villefranche. So you went on this journey. You found this team. I know a lot of the people in the audience, specifically today, are students looking for work, starting their journey. What would you say that you've learned about how to find this type of work, and what would you impart to people who are looking for these types of opportunities? How would you guide them?
So my journey. I'm 24, so my journey is short.
It just started, but still.
But I've joined Fairphone because I was doing a world tour with Interfaith Tour. It's a coexiste NGO which work on interfaith relations, so nothing about technology. But they gave me the Fairphone number 2 because I was going to 25 countries, and they asked me, can you test our device in those 25 countries? So I was I was in Canada, like you're from Canada.
Thank you.
We had like minus 45 degrees. And all my friends that were doing the video work with their big and beautiful iPhone, the battery was shut down in 10 minutes, and I was with my Fairphone saying, hey, it's working. I have also plus 37 degrees in Cyprus during August, and their iPhone was burning their hands, and I was still working with my Fairphone. So that's why how I joined with Fairphone as an ambassador. And actually, they are looking for French-speaking person doing those kind of shows and events and demo. Because we are also in Belgium, Luxembourg, and Switzerland. But it was Luke James who were here yesterday, who was ability to speak French, but he has a strong British accent. So when I was in Limoges, they want to have a French speaker in front of them to explain about the Fairphone.
Of course, you want somebody local to the culture so that they can interface more easily.
So of course you can add me on LinkedIn. It's Elois Deschamps without the S, but it's Elois.
Elois without the S, Deschamps with the S.
And you can add me on LinkedIn, and I can introduce you to the team and have a nice visit in Amsterdam. We have nice shop next to Patagonia.
And American, it's great.
California.
Great brand. And refers to a region in South America. So I assume all these jobs are also posted on the website for people who are interested. Check the career boards. I think you have a booth in the orange section. Yeah, it's on left corner, orange. I have my demo box with the Fairphone, which is in pieces, so you can see inside. Yeah, cool. So switching gears again. I'm sorry. So looking at Fairphone from more of a business perspective, I know it's built on the Android operating system.
Yeah.
So that means if I have a previous Android phone, then I'll be able to migrate all my apps pretty easily. There'll be updates.
Yeah.
Maybe you could speak a bit more about that.
Yeah, we have a partnership with Google and Android because our phones are lasting like 8 years. So now we are in Android 9,
Yep.
but we have this partnership in order to go to Android 20. So yeah, because there is no sense to have a Fairphone during like 8 years if you can't do the updates. But I have also my Fairphone 2. It's 5 years now, still working.
Yeah.
I have the 3 because of the work now. But
Yeah, which you just released at the end of last year, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Couple of months.
So we've taken an interesting journey in this conversation, kind of away from our primary topic, which is digital pollution, right? So how does Fairphone kind of address the idea of the disposal of these precious metals and these precious materials? Is the idea of the modularity and the repair cycle more focused on making sure that we don't waste what we don't need to? How does that work?
We have, the modularity is definitely a huge point. We are, if you want to buy a new part of the device, for example, a new battery or a new camera, you need to give back the bad piece in order to give the new one, because we are going to a recycle system here in Amsterdam, and you gave your new piece. Yeah.
Cool. Have you seen the recycling centers? What are those like?
The recycling what?
The recycling centers where you take the battery and they kind of take it apart for the metals.
Yeah, during the World Tour we've been there. It was in Amsterdam and also with this NGO in Ghana.
Yeah. That sounds pretty cool.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have also a video, really nice, which is called Urban Mining. We're giving those kind of conversation and workshop about urban mining. You're giving your old phone, for example, old Nokia's or old Samsung, and you just put apart all those elements, and you can already, you can see that a lot of iron, gold are inside, and you're saying, okay, no needs to go into garbage. It's like 1.5 billions of smartphone devices that are sold every year. So which means that there is a lot of waste and that we don't need to switch from Samsung 9 to Samsung 10, which is no kind of difference. No branding. So Samsung, Huawei, and Oppo. And that.
So the capability of a lot of smartphones, it's the technology's gotten so good that a lot of the apps are interchangeable. The experience is very similar. Obviously, there are preferences because of the software depending on the model that you're using. But I'm really glad to see kind of how this change is coming. I think you and I kind of see like a growing digital awareness around, there are better ways to live our current lifestyles. And I think Fairphone is a great reflection of that. Are there any, final thoughts that you'd like to share with the audience about, as they go forward in their journeys, or how they can like adapt their lifestyles, or things you think they should know?
Switching to Fairphone is not too hard, because in France I had these questions. No, I'm engaged with Apple. They are saying engage with Apple, which is those kind of words. And, so it's not really hard to switch to Fairphone. It's not 10 minutes to send a message, because we also had this this preconception of, okay, it's a wooden smartphone, but no, it's working really well. And we have in the plan to create a computer, a Fairphone computer, which will be sold in 5 years, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a scoop.
It's pretty cool.
So I think we can all do those kind of change, and it's being more respectful with the people that are around us. If you are going on a trip, if you're going to Congo and you're just showing your iPhone, I mean, it's not really respectful. If you are showing your Fairphone, they say, okay, you respect me as a human being, so cool. No, really. When we were on tour and I was texting with my Fairphone, they say, cool, you're actually taking care and you being aware of the issue that we are having here.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for everything you shared with the audience.
Merci. Merci beaucoup.
I'll take it back.
Et je suis disponible. Ah ouais.
Ah.
Et je suis disponible après à la sortie pour parler. Merci.